Let's build the best ancient cities. This is our review of World Wonders.
World Wonders is a tile placement game about building a city and placing ancient wonders throughout it. And I had fun playing it, but I got a little frustrated with the tile placement rules.
I love the theme from the moment I saw this game, and the easy mechanics make it fun for all ages. We'll tell you all about it after this quick how to play. All players begin the game and start each round with 7 gold, which they will use to pay for actions on each of their turns.
For their action, players can use gold to purchase roads, building tiles, a tower, first or second turn order, or monuments.
Players will spend the gold on the items that they want to purchase, then place the items in their city according to the placement rules of each item.
Players can place historical monuments into their city if they can afford it and once they meet the placement rules located on the cards.
When players add building tiles or monuments to their city, they will increase the resource markers on their player boards.
When a resource marker reaches a population symbol, the player will increase their population and continue doing so until they reach the last purple space on their board.
The game ends after 10 rounds or when a player reaches the last purple space on their population track.
Players add up their scores from their population track, resources, monuments, and city districts. The player with the most points wins.
Before you wander off building your wonders, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button.
All your likes and subscribes really help our channel grow, so thank you.
I was excited for this game from the moment that I saw it announced on social media, so I waited in line for it at Gen Con last year, and it was one of my top 10 favorite games of 2023 that we played, so I really enjoyed this game. It's not super complicated, it's a tile placement grid coverage game, so you have your city and then you gotta place the building tiles in your city according to placement rules, and then when you have the right placement configuration, you can play a world wonder. And that's the big draw of this game, are the world wonders that come with it, because they're the fun wood cutout pieces that you have, and they really are impressive. I mean, look at the size of this pyramid piece that goes on your board. It covers a lot of the spaces, and it comes with all 3 pyramids. So when you place the pyramids, you gotta be able to place all 3 of them on your board. It'll take up a big chunk of your board. I don't think the mechanics of the monuments are all that exciting, but just the monuments themselves make it fun. If you really enjoy the world wonders and things like that, you'll really enjoy this game.
I agree. The production value, just having these pieces, the tactile feeling, and you're like, oh, okay, put it over here, covering that grid or those squares. It's kind of fun because you can just kind of manipulate and play with it. If it was just a card or like a polyomino piece, you're like, okay. You know, just a flat piece, you might be like, doesn't feel monumental to me right now.
The main mechanic of the game is tile placement grid coverage, and you have to place your city districts, which are the color districts that are like that, and they come in different shapes. You gotta place them on your board, and they have to be touching roads. So you also need to place roads in your city. So you gotta figure out the right timing of when to place a road, when to place your districts, when to place other things that you can build up, because the towers can also start roads from anywhere. Otherwise, the roads have to start from the edge of your board, and then the city districts can touch other city districts if they're the matching colors. So as you're playing and you see those city districts pop up on the district board and they're the same color, you go, oh, I gotta make sure I get that one. But other players may also be thinking, ooh, I gotta get that one. So it's a race to get those colors, to place them on your board so that you can build up as efficiently as possible.
I think that is kind of where I got a little frustrated. I get it. It's the rules of the game. You know them, follow them. But like normally for tile placement games, I'm used to like, oh, okay, like willy-nilly, like place it wherever you want. And then hopefully like it all works out, right? But this one is like, nope, you got to start by the roads. You got to build roads. Don't have a road? Too bad. Like you either need to wait a whole round when roads are available and get it. Hopefully no one drafts it before you. So those kind of things also have to you have to think about priorities too. I'm not saying that it's a bad thing. I was getting frustrated because they were beating me to roads and stuff. So I'm like, how do I build?
So as you build the city districts, they'll have the little symbols on them that'll move up on your player board to move the resources. So this particular tile has 2 of the red jars and 2 of the blue gears. So you'll look at your player board and you'll move up 2 on the red jars and 2 on the blue gears. And as you're moving along the player boards and you get to the white symbol, the population symbol, you'll move up your population track. And as you're going, you'll get points on the population track at the end. You get 1, 2, 3 if you get all the way to the end. If someone gets to the purple spot, that also ends the game. Otherwise, it's 10 rounds. There's stacks of city tiles, and there's 10 city tiles in each stack. And when they're all gone, that's the end of the game because that's the end of 10 rounds. I wish there was a little bit more to it than that. I like that it's simple and it's good for players of all ages. The box says 14 and up, but that might just be a manufacturing thing. I think you probably go 12 and up, 10 and up, depending on who's playing the game. So I wish there was a little bit more to it, like a few other things that you had to do. It would add more weight to the game, which would make it less friendly to younger kids. However, I think that would just make it even more fun.
So not that these two games are very close alike, but this did remind me of Acropolis. Although that was just pure tile placement, you're building your city. It reminds me because of the districts, right? You're trying to like match up the purples, and if they all touch, then there's a multiplier there. This reminded me of that, especially when you're trying to build your city districts. But obviously this has more stuff like resources and obviously monuments and other goals and things like that. So a little bit more advanced, but if you wanted a kind of similar artwork and everything with the tile placement and just building a city, I'd probably recommend that one.
There are advanced rule cards that you can play with that will put different goals that each player will have to go for to get more points. And if you achieve what the card is saying, then you'll get certain points. Player who has the most of that thing will get 3 points. And it does make it a little bit more interesting, but it doesn't really change it all that much. So I'm interested to see the expansion that's coming out and some possible future expansion, because there are a lot more wonders that they could have. There are a lot more things you could do with it with what's already here. So I'll probably keep this in the collection just so that we can see what the expansions bring to it.
I would say it's the monuments, just because while we're playing, I can be like, hey, Kenny, what's this one again? And you're like, oh, it's this. So I'm like learning at the same time too, and they're just cool looking.
I would have to say my favorite thing is also the monuments. That's what drew me to the game. That's what makes it really fun while you're playing the game. But just to be different, I also like the tile placement. Even though Lee was having some issues with the rules, I do kind of like the rules of how you have to play it, just because it separates it a little bit from other tile placement games. Not only do you have the cool pieces, but you have some more interesting rules as well too. So it's not just those games with cool pieces. It's its own separate thing plus cool pieces. What did you not like about the game?
The roads. Like there was only a limited number, and once those got drafted, it's like, oh, well, I guess I'll just draft this. Oh, but I can't place any of these buildings anywhere because they're not meeting the rules. So it's not just the roads, but just the placement rules. I couldn't get a handle on them.
I would say the biggest thing I didn't like was the weight of it. I get that it's a lot of fun for players of all ages, which I do appreciate. However, it could have been a little bit better if it was just a little bit more complicated. At the start of each round, every player starts with 7 gold. And I know that they have the loan in there that you can get, so you can get extra gold in a round and have to pay it back by the end of the game. However, I still feel like that gold is what I like the least about it, as far as making it more complicated or more easy. The fact that everyone just gets 7 at the start of each round, I'm not a big fan of that.
Overall, I really enjoyed the production value with the little pieces, all the good artwork, and your own little player boards that you're building your own city. So that's fun to see. It has its own little, where it makes it a little bit different from other tile placement games, so I'll give it that. So overall, I'll probably give it a 6.
I really like the pieces. The pieces lived up to the hype of what I was expecting when they announced it, and when I looked at it, when you look at the box, and when you talk about what the game is, you're building the world wonders. I do wish there was a little bit more complication as far as playing the game, a little bit more strategy that you had to do. However, that doesn't really detract from it that much for me, and I do see a lot of potential for expansions and building out the world that this is, and I already like the production value of it, so I'm looking forward to playing it more and more. So overall, I'm going to give it an 8. And that was our review of World Wonders.
What'd you think? Will this be a wonder you build on your game night? Let us know in the comments below.
And if you're enjoying our content, please like this video, subscribe to our channel.
Until next time, I'm Lee.
And I'm Kenny, and go party like a board gamer.